Hello and welcome to our gathering today. This evening for me, 8 o'clock, whatever time it is where you are right now, if you're watching on a replay. So thank you for joining me and joining us. So I want to speak today about the sense that I've been having for a long time and a lot of people are having is kind of like something's just not right. And want to go into that a little bit, but also kind of what to do about it, how to relate to that experience. What's going on? I don't know what the fuck's going on. How do I know what's going on? What does this mean for me? What's going to mean for my life? What's coming ahead? How do I plan? How do I know what's going to happen? Is it going to? Is it not going to? Etc. Etc. All the different ways that happens. So, hello Nadia, great to see you. Thanks for coming. So I want to talk about that and maybe give you some different ways to look at the experience that you might be having in a way that I'm hoping will help you to find your own way through the times that we are in now. So again, welcome. My name is Daniel Piatek. I support people to go through their own journey to discover who it is that they really are once they step outside of all the things that they were taught to be, all the leftover shit from the past that's stuck in their bodies, and daring to trust and believe and act on their own heart. So what is going on right now in the world? So I'm going to share with you, I'm going to say it now. I might say it a couple other times during what it is I'm going to share with you. This is my perspective. This is my point of view. And like, hello Donna, welcome, good to see you. I can't see you, but I can see you. I'm sharing with you how I see it as of this moment. And if we talk in another month or two, some of this might change, but here's how I see what it is, what's going on. Something's just not right. So that's happening on many different levels for some reasons that I think I understand, and then probably a hell of a lot of reasons that there's no way I'm ever going to know. But we are living in a time of huge, profound, great change. It was always going to be that way, this time, this moment. Now, was it going to be COVID that sort of led us into a whole, God only knows what's ahead? Was it going to be something else? Who knows? But this time is exactly as it was intended to be. So I'm going to try to cover a lot of ground, I think, in this conversation, and which means I'm going to have to do it not very deep, but enough that I think I won't lose you, hopefully. So in many different traditions, many different ways of seeing huge periods of time on the planet, now is one of those moments that happens every, let's say, couple thousand years of a great change on the planet. And it seems that we have entered that time and may have been in this time for a while. It's a time between ages. And I'm just going to use the yugas from India, from the Hindu, I don't know if it's Hindu exactly, may have preceded Hinduism, but from India, looking at now as being from the time when, right around when Buddha, Jesus time, now those are different times, about 500 years apart, until now, we have been in the lowest, meaning farthest away from the source of who we are, farthest away from the infinity from which we come, the Kali Yuga. And we are now coming to the end of that. And assuming things keep going forward, about 25,000 or so years from now, we'll end up back in this same place in the cycle. So we're talking huge, huge swaths of time. And we're moving into a new cycle as we head back up to knowing and experiencing ourselves as time moves on more and more as the spark of infinity that we are, the Christ self that we are, the God self. But right now, in the times that we're living in, we are going through, we have entered this time between times. And these time between times are times of great upheaval, great change. Stay with me. The news is good. Something just isn't right. It's not. But it is. There are many things that feel to us that they're just not right. I can't really quite tell. I don't know. I have a sense maybe it's this, maybe it's that person, maybe it's etc. But there is profound rightness behind all of it. So what the hell does that mean? What do we do with that? This time between times, the purpose that it serves is to complete, to finish, to leave behind, to separate from, to claim what has been gained, and to leave which cannot go into this next phase. It's a time of great upheaval, things falling away, things the way they used to be, no longer around. The way that we structure our lives, the way we think about what life is about, how we create commonality, togetherness in the form of family, clans, communities, cities, states, a world. We are heading towards very different ways of thinking about all of these things, including ourselves. So in this period of time, according to what it is that I have read in my research about the yugas, this period of time is like, let's say 300 or 400 years. So safely say, likely for the rest of our lives in these bodies as these names and biographies and faces walking around on the planet. Things are going to continue to fall apart. And as that happens, those people, those structures, so think of structures, a government, a corporation, the idea of corporation itself, success and power comes from having money and things. Those that have succeeded in playing that old game are likely to want to hang on to it. Which means as the game that they're playing and have gotten really damn good at is falling apart, and we're all trying to figure out, hold on a second, what does this mean that I don't have a job anymore? What does it mean when ChatGPT or whatever like comes online and begins to like take over fucking everything? And right before I got on, I read that ChatGPT, whatever it's called, just something like just passed a CPA exam. A fucking computer. Things that make art, etc. When human beings aren't needed in order to produce what it is this old system needs to make it function, things are going to shift and change. Keep breathing. Keep breathing as I'm talking, if this is bringing up anxiety for you. The news is positive. The news is good. But it will not be positive and good to the parts of us that want to continue holding on to the old. So let's make this more personal. The old ways of seeing ourselves, consciously and mostly unconsciously. Holding on to certain dynamics and kinds of relationships. Holding on to ideas about how it is that we get resources, money, things that we need in order to make our lives work. For the parts of us that keep clinging on to those things, this time is going to increasingly get more and more challenging. Because we're keeping to look to the same places as those things are falling apart, as those things are no longer available, as those things are being shown to us and we're being experienced by us as not able to give us what they once were. Keep breathing, the news is good. See, I'm talking about all over here, the old. But there is new that's already here and that will continue to open up to us. But we cannot see it and we cannot experience it when we are locked into and holding on to, maybe submerged by the worry, the concern, the difficulty, the hopes, the doubt. In this world where something's not right. So you see, we are here on this planet because we chose to be here right now, because it is a most auspicious and profound time to be here. As beings of infinite light, as beings of infinite source. This ain't our first rodeo. And this is a time at which the game that we've been playing over a long period of time is now coming to an end. And we're here to put it to bed and to release ourselves and release the other sparks of infinity that we know as our brothers and sisters, our husbands, our wives, our parents, our neighbors, our community, to help release them as well from the old so that we can move forward. Because that which is, that who is, remains connected to the old, goes with the old. The old must go so that the new can emerge. Fear. Old is fear. Power over. Control and authority as external. Subsume what it is that you really want in favor of getting good at the game. The game more recently in our history seems to have become about getting, having, consuming, using not only things but each other. Keep breathing. That's the state of humanity at the end of this period of time, around 2,000 years, that is humanity's lowest point in a cycle of 25,000 years. And we take it all so fucking personally. It's a shame. And it has to go. Because none of this is in fact personal. Now, as we do the work inside of ourselves to release ourselves from the old world, we often think about the stuff out here in the world. our job, the kind of work we do, the kind of people we hang out with, how we spend our time, our energy, and our money, those are certainly included. But the work that is more primary, more fundamental, that really in the end, none of that can be changed without this other work, is the work inside of ourselves. Because the outside world, the world that we all share between us, is the way it is because of the world that we inhabit within us. And that world is dying, and it's likely to die a very violent, ugly death. You don't want to be a part of that. And you don't have to be. But that is all out here, and that's a reflection of what is in here. And as I've gone on my own journey, I mean, it's been my whole life, to be honest, since I was, 26. But very much since 2015, is that there's what I've discovered for myself, and the work I've been doing now for the last 5 years, 5 years, has been helping people to do this for themselves. And that's to come inside of ourselves, to work with a process which is already happening, which is the wisdom of our being trying to unravel itself, to disentangle itself from all of this unfinished business from the past, and to come inside and help those parts of us, or those things that we are carrying around in us that actually are not of us. They're of the culture, they're of our ancestry, they're from our bloodlines. Jung called these kinds of things the collective unconscious. Coming inside and allowing those things inside of us to die, that need to die, so that who it is that we really are can free itself. See, there is an exalted human already present in your being, as your being. It exists, exalted. I don't know of another word to say it. I truly mean it. And I'm not talking about a prettier, thinner, younger, more fantastic version of your face, your name, and your biography. It's much more profound than that. And you see, as we continue on our collective journey, heading back up to know ourselves directly as the source that birthed us, about 12,000 years from now, according to the Yugas, as we continue our way on up, that exalted human, exalted self, exalted being will continue to push from inside, because it wants to live its life as us. It is not different than you. It is you. And as it continues to push out, to try to spread itself out, to try to embody more in us that which is already there, which believes in finiteness, in limit, and in some way, I am not in charge of and responsible for the way in which my life turns out. Any part of us that defers to authority, any part of us that puts a limit on what is possible as my own expression, must give way to that which is infinite in us, which wants to express through us, as us, because it is us. It's glorious and fucking painful. And I mean that, both. But these are the times that we're in, my dear ones, my dear friends, my dear comrades and companions on this journey. And as we continue forward, particularly over these next few years, that's kind of all that I have a sense of, is that life out there and also life in here is going to get very challenging. But just because it's challenging doesn't mean it can't be the most fucking amazing, outrageous adventure of any lifetime that you've ever had. That's why we're here. We're built for this. And it's going to take effort and work, because the challenge of being a human being, well, many of them, yeah? But one of the greatest challenges of being a human being is we don't realize how limited we are, how shut down we are, how closed off, how protected, how attached to things, how run by programming that lives in here in us, that is manipulated by programming that comes at us. We don't realize it. But that exalted self is here. It sees it all. It knows what the fuck it is. It knows what it's doing. It knows who and what it is. It knows no limitation. It has only love. It has only the best intentions for us and the other. And it knows its way. It can see clearly. But you see, it's not the one driving our car through life. We think we are. And we try. But mostly, some programming back here, stuff that got plugged in from God only knows where, is what's doing it. The thing is, it doesn't have to. All we need to do is to start to kind of wonder, something's not right. Something's not right. And then get really curious. Curiosity is probably one of the greatest human superpowers, because it doesn't assume it already knows. It's open, interested, inviting, seeing, knowing, experiencing with more clarity and more depth. Curiosity is the key that opens up a passageway into the parts of us that see with tremendous clarity. And we're gonna need to become a lot more curious as time goes on. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a second. So in what I'm seeing, I wanted to see if there was any comments or questions. So I see some comments. Thanks, Nadia. Keep breathing. Thanks, Donna. So maybe to finish up here, because I can't believe I've been talking that long already, is that so if we look at what's going on already, and it might be different for different people that live in different parts of the world, etc. But there are so many questions already about things happening out there in the world. Who did what? Who said what? How did that happen? Many, many, many questions arising finally, and thank God, about what's been transpiring these last few years. And I just would invite you to consider just getting curious about what you see, but in a very relaxed way. Because you see, our answers are not out there. Our answers are all in here. And I may need to hear you say something out there to me, and then feel, listen, sense in me, yes, that's what I need to hear. So I don't have all the answers inside of me, but I have everything I need on board already to know in every moment, that's what I need. Ask that question. That doesn't feel right. I don't know why. As we go into more and more uncertain times, insecure times, learning how to operate with and from our own internal guidance system is critical. So I'm going to invite you to start noticing the ways in which and how you look out there to the world, or on this screen, or to that. Does anybody read newspapers anymore? Or to this person, to give you your answers. And just go, oh, that's interesting. Look how I'm looking to that to kind of tell me how to see. Just notice. Because you see, if you start becoming curious about how you operate around this, you begin to open little passageways in yourself to deeper parts of you that can start whispering back. It's really important. It's really, really important. So this sense that many are having now, something's not quite right. What I'm going to suggest is a way to relate to it that I feel is most helpful. So what is not very helpful is just ignoring it. It's fine. It's all the same. It's the same as it was. No problems. It's fine. I wouldn't suggest that. It's a way that we've done it because otherwise when we start, we don't know how. We don't know how to find our way. We don't know how to understand. And it brings up a lot of insecurity in us. And we haven't figured out how to deal with that. I have ways in which I teach people to do that. And you'll have to get that in another video. We won't be talking about that today. But burying your head in the sand at this point is a death sentence, to be blunt. And I'm not really just talking about the physical body. Also, what not to do, I'm suggesting, is to not get lost in the never-ending, completely, I don't know what to say about that that's nice. The never-ending, endless process of looking out there for the facts. We are in a post-fact world. Things are so complicated and so misconstrued, and people are so inside their own bubbles and seeing things in skewed ways, looking to fact, because fact is this sense of out there. Come inside for what does my being tell me right now about what I need to know, what I need to do, what I need to not do. So if you're lost in a freaking desert, you've never been there, you got no map, how are you going to navigate? Because even though there's all kinds of things out there now telling us how to see things and how to, what's right, what's wrong, what to do, you got to do this. If you're going to be this kind of person, you're going to do that. Particularly in the spiritual world, holy fuck, don't get me started. Is that in the end, you got to come back to, in your own beingness, what do I feel is right for me? Because even though some of those places, people, facts, way of seeing things in the past may have actually helped, been important, been correct, we are moving out of the world in which those even make sense and making our way into a world that we don't yet know. We are in a time in between. And in these times in between, we are left in the end to ourselves. This is the great blessing that we are being given. Because as we go inside, begin to work with the wisdom in us, which is making its way out, and keep meeting and learning how to work together. I'm talking about, these are both of us. I hope that's clear. The deeper part of us, the infinite us, and the us out here, whatever this is, that's here navigating, trying to make sense of the world, finding out how to work together. So, curiosity in the face of something's just not quite right. Curiosity, not position, not this is right, they're wrong. This whole idea of good, bad, this is right, that is wrong. That whole world is going away. We don't know how to be in this new way. But that deeper part of us does completely. It flourishes. It knows what it's doing. We don't know what we're doing. That's the good news. Something's just not quite right. It's not. And that's perfect. As we begin to find different ways to relate to the fact that we don't know what's going on around here. That's what's opening the doors for us to find our way out of a prison that we haven't realized we've been in. So thank you for joining me. I would love your comments, your questions. I'm going to be doing more things through video and gatherings. I'm going to be opening up a community on a different platform for us to be able to come together and to get support in us finding our way forward in life. It's called the Phoenix Nest. The Phoenix is that mythical being that when it's time to move into its next phase, it cannot continue to further grow in its old form, it goes and lights itself on fire, freeing itself from the form that limited it so that it can be reborn into its greater form. So more coming on that. And this is a blessed time that we're in, but not when we're holding on to the old. So let's all come together and learn more about what it means to move forward without holding on to the old, having a lot of fun along the way, learning to laugh at ourselves, and birth a new world together. So thanks for joining me. Lots of love to you, and see you again soon, I hope. Okay, bye for now.